Get more ass down the toilet seat. 3 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I met a bad bitch last night at the D. Let me tell you how I made her leave with me. Conversation and Hennessy.
Hey, hello, this is Greg Hoyt from The Breakdown, and we are live. It's official like a referee's whistle, and I am joined by the very awesome, very unique streamer who has recently, been on the YouTube game herself, WaifuChron. Did I say that correctly?
WaifuChron. I know. I've gotten comments about it being super cringe of a name, but now I'm just leaning into it. So, like, whatever.
Oh, yeah, no. So I know what waifu implies, but like, what is the chron? Like chronological? Like, what is
No. So when I made the channel, I had no idea I'd be doing this stuff with other people and live streaming, and I didn't think anybody had seen my content. And I intended to like create like just a personal blog. So it was like Waifu Chronicles. So it's just going to be like random wife, mom, person stuff that nobody would ever see. And then Eliza Blue happened and kind of open a can of worms, and now I'm doing live streams with you. Weird.
Well, okay. When you say live streams with me, this is the first live stream we've done together. Like, I've live streamed with other people, but we've been in cahoots for a little bit, and I do believe we got in cahoots as a result of the Eliza Blue, let's call it shenanigans. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's where we first kind of crossed paths.
Yeah. I really didn't see much about her until I was an outside observer of all of the EB nonsense and shenanigans. And I think you were a part of that group. And I posted a video, and I had made a spreadsheet because that's how I do. I make spreadsheets. And I posted it in the description, and I've talked to a few people on Twitter about it, and they're like, your spreadsheet was awesome. And everyone was talking about it. I'm like, who watches this? Like, I was like, okay, cool. And then I got invited onto the Autonomous Zone show. And rest is history. Weird. It's been a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, no, I thought the Eliza Blue situation was really unique. It was really funny, albeit, even though, I can't say it with the utmost certainty, because I was informed of my dismissal due to monetary reasons.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, but I did find it unique that Chrissy Mayer had caught wind of the digging that I did when I was, hosting some of those or co-hosting some of those Twitter Spaces and stuff like that. Because there were a few folks that really dug up some great stuff. A huge shout out to Defango. Defango was stellar at digging up information, even though I know he can be a bit of a contentious fellow.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
I've only heard. I don't know from experience. I just heard that he can,
Yeah, but
it's a little feisty sometimes. But what he pulled on that topic specifically was pretty in depth.
Yeah, exactly. And that's and I don't think, someone's contribution to a matter should be obfuscated by any particular notoriety that they may have outside of the endeavor in question. And I don't know if you noticed, like, Eliza Blue is she's completely abandoned the whole I'm advocating for trafficking victims stuff. You take a look at her feed, and it is just completely whitewashed with just stupid stuff. Stupid stuff like memes of raccoons and stuff. Like, she's like a boomer when it comes to memes. I'm surprised she doesn't have like memes with the little minions or something like that talking about I need my coffee or something like that.
And I get called a boomer for my memes. Give me a break. There's layers.
No. Boomer memes are definitely anything with those minion characters. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get on to the first topic, and that is this bud's for you. So I think we all know the controversy encircling Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, which one of the things that's really funny on videos where I've covered Anheuser-Busch, people have been extremely critical of how I enunciate Anheuser. And it's like, well, what do you want me to say? They're like, it's Anheuser. Some people are like, it's Anheuser, not Anheuser.
I was going to ask, is that an accent thing, like where you're from, or?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's part of it is an accent. And of course you've got some of those people, they're like, It's Onsheiser. It's like, all right, dude, chill out. All right.
9.
Yeah, no, and I don't know. I just found that to be kind of silly, kind of nitpicky. Also, there were people nitpicking me for the way I say advertisement. They're like, why do you say that word so funny? I'm like, I don't know, man. It's the King's English. It seeps through sometimes. I can't help it, Like I have to be really cognizant of my enunciation to abandon, traditional English. And what do you got right here? Tebow Talk says
Tebow.
Eliza, the utter definition of grifter.
It's so funny. Yesterday, I met up with a friend who does not participate in anything on Twitter, and I was just telling her a little bit of what's going on with the channel and stuff. And I start using words like grifter, and she's like, "What's that mean?" I'm like, "You don't know what grifting means? You don't know what a grifter is?" I had to go through like 3 different sets of like Twitter speak and YouTube speak to like just begin to tell the story. And she was so lost. I'm like, "Oh, this is what people on the outside world are like." I forgot.
Yeah, no. Apparently, you have a fan in Tebow because he's saying hi. He's saying hi.
Hi, Tebow. Now Tebow's got a great channel.
Yeah, and we have Dirk. Is it Dirk Bremer or Dirk Bremer? But he's saying he lived in St. Louis for most of his life, and it's officially pronounced Anheuser, as in the name Anne. Yeah, I mean, there was so much controversy over enunciation. I don't know.
You had me questioning how I said it. I'm like, have I been saying it wrong this entire time?
Yeah,
I was
no,
driving at the time and I was listening to it, so I wasn't able to like just dig into it then, and then I got busy. But I'm like, is that how you're supposed to say it? Oh my God, I've been living a lie. I'm almost 40 years old and I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, no. So Dirk, yeah. I was saying Anheuser. It's just it comes with the territory. I see that letter placement and I'm like, oh, Anheuser. I'll work on it. My apologies. And Tebow Talk is saying that's like explaining things. Oh, he's talking about explaining grifter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was funny though. It's real funny.
Yeah. And no, Dirk, Eliza is not still a topic of discussion. If you joined a little bit, late on the train, waifu and I got. Oh, okay. Can I call you something other than waifu?
I'm Jess. Just
okay.
Jess. WaifuChron's the channel name. I'm just me. So.
All right, cool. Jess and I, we were just shooting the breeze with respect to how we crossed paths, and it was due to that shenanigans in late January, early February with Eliza Blue. But let's get back on topic. This bud's for you. So just tell me what are your thoughts on the overall matter with respect to Dylan Mulvaney being onboarded as a brand ambassador for Bud Light?
It was a little confusing at first because it looked so unofficial that I couldn't tell if it was legit or, and found out later it was part of a campaign. But when it first came out, everyone was going nuts. It's like, but is it though? I mean, could Dylan just be putting, the @ or hashtag, don't make me large? Get out of here.
You don't want to be large?
No, it's a conversation. Get back in here.
My apologies.
So at first I wasn't sure if it was just some kind of stunt, but then finding out later it was actually part of a campaign of theirs. It's also cringe. I am so sick of seeing Dylan Mulvaney all over the place, especially, I mean, I think the Bud Light one is a little less like nefarious than all the other spaces that Dylan's been in because they've all been makeup ads, Olay, everything targeted to women. I find that more offensive than the Bud Light situation, actually.
Yeah. That's like, I understand Dylan Mulvaney has a sizable amount of social media clout. He has a healthy following on TikTok. Part of me wonders whether or not a sizable chunk of his subscribers, like on TikTok, because I think he has something like 5-10 million subs on there.
I haven't bothered to look.
Yeah, I mean it's something absurd. But, part of me is wondering how much of those are folks just following like hate watchers,
Mm.
people watching and subscribing for the cringe. Um, but
Yeah, I follow a lot of people that I don't like.
oh yeah,
So
yeah, no, I do that on Twitter all the
everyone
time.
does.
Yeah, because you kind of want to see what the hooligans are up to. Um, but that being said, outside of Dylan Mulvaney ostensibly having some hate watchers and hate followers, uh, I was really confused at the fact that Bud Light onboards him on as an ambassador, and I think it's reasonable to assume that a majority of Dylan Mulvaney's viewers are going to be under the age of 21. I don't. While I think he has supporters, like people who support his endeavors, that are over the age of 21, I
Mhm.
do not. I do not believe his followers on TikTok are largely 21 and older, because I don't find. I've seen his content. I don't see adults being legitimately entertained by it. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Well, I mean, the majority of the TikTok audience is under 21, like just across the board, right?
Yeah, yeah. It is.
What I
It
hear
is
anyway.
largely something adopted by the younger generation.
And then they look to Dylan as some kind of not just an icon, but a role model. And it's definitely influencing the younger generation as far as like, I can do that too. I can be Uber grifter someday. There was a do you know who Mike Carlo is, right? Oh no, you froze.
Uh-oh, did I lose you?
I hear you, but you're frozen.
Oh,
Oh, there you
okay.
are.
If you say his name 3 times, he gets it. That is probably not far from the truth.
Scary.
And we have Dirk saying the reality of Dylan is a cross-dressing gay man. Uh, I,
Yeah.
I I do suspect that a lot of what he does is performative, and I think that's one of the reasons why he is such a controversial and divisive figure, because people, largely women, if I had to fathom a guess, are observing what he's doing, and it looks like a parody of a woman. He really leans into a lot of the stereotypes, like, "Oh, I'm a woman and I love to go shopping and I cried 3 times a day, and oh my goodness, I got these tampons." Those are actual excerpts from
His
videos.
Barbie pouch.
Yeah, that's that's offensive. I
It
can see it being offensive. I look at it as offensive. Um, I refer to it, and I know I'm not the only one. I call his actions woman face, um, because
yeah.
that's what it genuinely feels like. It feels like a parody. I do not see much of a difference from what Dylan Mulvaney's doing and what Catboy Cammy was doing on Omegle when he was doing the blackface and eating chicken thing.
I must have missed that one.
Uh,
Sounds interesting though. We don't have to go there, but I will look it up later.
yeah,
No,
no, I could probably pull up a photo of Catboy Cammy.
yeah,
Uh,
but Dylan is a performance like theater actor. I saw that he was in the Book of Mormon at one point. He was on The Price is Right as a contestant and was doing this outrageous performance of excitement. And he was a gay man back then. It was just so over the top. So when you see that he has a past in theater and overacting and trying to become famous, and then you see him doing his Days of Girlhood, which is creepy in of itself because Days of Girlhood, not womanhood. It's like it seems like total. Oh my god!
that is Catboy Cammy.
No! Oh no!
He used to go on um Omegle, which are you familiar with Omegle at all?
I've seen videos of it. I've never been on it.
Yeah, I mean, so it's one of those things where you can randomly chat with people, on the internet, like you much like what we're doing right now. You can randomly chat with people just out of nowhere. It'll just randomly link up. And so what he would do is he would go into Omegle and type in like hashtag BLM, hashtag LGBTQ,
Oh no!
and he would dress up in blackface
Oh no!
and refer to himself as a trans N word, uh, and tell people if they did not respect his racial identity, then they were transphobic and racist.
What happened to him? Where is he now?
He pretty much got ousted from all corners of the internet. He was banned from just about every platform he can think of, and it was like one part due to his antics, or largely due to them, but also, even though what he was doing was kind of comical, he was and is legitimately racist. Like
There's that.
like he really does not like Black Americans. So
okay then.
Yeah.
So
yeah, what is it? Devil's Advocate. If drag is funny, why is Dylan any different? For the record, I'm not a fan of drag stuff. I see it as largely harmless when, you have adults entertaining adults, but I'm not going to fault people for saying that drag queen stuff is gross or disgusting. I think it is a contentious topic.
Agreed. I used to watch RuPaul's Drag Race like prior to 2016. I wasn't even aware of politics. I had no I didn't engage with anything political. I was just kind of in my own, living my life, doing my thing. And I came across RuPaul's Drag Race. It wasn't something I sought out. I'm like, oh, nothing else is on. Oh, wow, they're really creative. That's like, that person's a really good comic. And so I kind of got sucked into that side of it. Sometimes they go a little too hard into the, what do I say?
Are you going to say something?
No. Too much into like the talking about sex and like, butt stuff and whatever. I mean, it's all supposed to be on cable, so it was censored, but it's like, okay, guys, can we just get along to the talent show, basically, for me? And some of them were just nasty, like really slutty. But so I found a drag queen, actually did a video on this one. And since then, I've seen some posts on Twitter about big trans allies and like really going ham for trans. I'm like, oh, shoot, shouldn't have made that video. But, I saw that one in person, like a comedy show. Super funny, super offensive. No children should ever be there, ever. And that particular drag queen I always liked because they didn't want to be around kids. They were always like kind of like surly about the other nasty drag queens. And so I was like, okay, this one seems kind of, for what it's worth, for in that spirit, kind of wholesome. but as a whole, like I can't watch it anymore. I have no taste for it, no time for it, especially when they started getting super political, and then I stopped watching. And then all the pride parades with the children involved, and I'm like, I can't support it. Just even, it just grosses me out now. No, not unfortunately. It just is what it is. It just,
when all else fails, just refer to a tautology. It is what it is. And Dirk Brummer, he brings up a good point. Dylan and Jeffrey et al. Would be nowhere without social media. And the same could be said for a lot of people, to be candid. But yeah, Dylan Mulvaney's shtick is, it's not really anything clever nor unique. He's not doing anything that anybody else already hasn't done per se. I think he was just a little bit better at being the squeaky wheel, being so annoying that he captured attention. Because if you take a look at his some of his earlier videos where he was doing the onset of, day one into girlhood and day two and stuff like that, a lot of them were cringe. They were just hyper, for lack of a better term, misogynistic. They were extremely misogynistic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going hiking today in my favorite heels. Oh, look at me. I'm a girl. It's like, is this supposed to be funny? Or are you serious? This is offensive.
Yeah. That. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine, Casey. I've had him on the show before. And, him and I agree with there being a concurrence between Dylan Mulvaney's antics and, it being lateral to blackface type of stuff. Because, Dylan Mulvaney pulling that stuff like, oh, I'm in my heels and, oh, I'm going to go hiking. Oh, I need to go shopping today. It's not going to be that much different if, I just slap on some blackface and some big red lips and be like, all right, guys, we going to Popeyes today. Oh, yeah.
Eat some watermelon.
Yeah. Like, After that, we gonna get some crawdads. You know, ha!
Yikes!
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
it would be absolutely silly. And so with respect to the this buds for you topic, Donald Trump Jr. recently got into the fold, and his take on the matter was not great. So let's go ahead and jump into that. I've got a short video which encapsulates his thoughts on the matter.
Seen the backlash that Budweiser is facing over the trans marketing scheme. And we looked into the political giving and lobbying history of Anheuser-Busch. And guess what? They actually support Republicans. Last cycle, their employees and their PAC gave about 60% to Republicans and 40% to Democrats. And that's literally almost unheard of in corporate America. And they actually went pretty big for some important races. For example, they went big for Kevin McCarthy's effort to take back the House and fire Nancy Pelosi. Anheuser-Busch totally shit the bed with this Dylan Mulvaney thing. I'm not, though, for destroying an American and iconic company for something like this. Trust me, the memes have been so good, I'm sitting there chomping at it, like I want it. But like when I actually look into it, I'm not going to blame the whole company for the inaction or the stupidity of someone in a marketing campaign that got woke as hell. The company itself doesn't participate in the same leftist nonsense as the other big conglomerates. But if they do this again, then it's on them. Then screw them. But listen, one of the things we have to do, I like calling balls and strikes, and I love going after people when they screw up. But when you actually look into it, they'd be one of the more conservative-leaning companies in America. So they've been put on notice. I'm leaving them alone. I think you should probably do the same. If they do it again, they've been warned.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that take. You know, and I made my points on a previous video from the other day. That was a very, very bad take from Don Jr. And it also signals that he's simping. Him and his family, they're simping for donors and not their constituents.
Yeah, I watched your video and with the added context, because it just as a layman not knowing anything about donations and PACs or whatever, it's like, well, that seems weird. I mean, aside from the fact it seems like he has marbles in his mouth, it just seemed off. And then like the context you gave in that last video, I'm like, okay, screw this guy. This is a suspicions confirmed kind of a deal.
Well, yeah, because as I pointed out previously in that last video, number one, Anheuser, I'm going to make sure I say it correctly, Anheuser-Busch. It's not an American company. They're owned by InBev, a Belgian company. And when you take a look, it's all on open secrets. You take a look at the money that Anheuser-Busch gives Republicans. Yeah, it is roughly like a 60-40 split. A large majority of the money comes from their employees, though. It's not directly from the company going to PACs. You have individual employees giving money anyway. But that aside, you know, it was collectively like 1.2 or 1.3 million that went out to between Republicans and Democrats during the 117th congressional session. But Anheuser-Busch spends $5.1 million on lobbying. And when you see what they lobby for, they spend money on lowering their taxes and trying to get aluminum cheaper. That's all they. Hello, Grifty.
Grifty. So you mean they're not donating toward causes that affect social change on the conservative front? It's just taxes?
No, yeah. All it
Aluminum.
is all it is efforts to lower their taxes, because I took a look at each and every one of what they lobbied on the behalf of or in relation to for various bills during the 117th congressional session. And so I saw like CARES Act, Apex, Ethan's Law, stuff like that. And those are very wide, that's a wide array of bills. So then I take a look at the memos and the reports that they released with respect to those bills that were in the House and the Senate. And it turns out each and every issue that they raised with each and every one is corporate taxes, excise taxes, and the prices on aluminum. That was it. That's all they cared about. I mean, Ethan's law is a law that relates to locking your firearm inside of your home if you have a child inside of the house. But you know how big bills in the House and the Senate work. They have a lot of stuff earmarked in there for corporate write-offs, taxes, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. For some reason, Budweiser or Anheuser-Busch was like, hey, our issue with this Ethan's law bill is regarding our tax write-offs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, did you like how fast they rolled out the Clydesdale? That's getting promoted and pushed into like my feed constantly everywhere. No. Release the Clydesdale. Trying to make up for it.
Well, yeah, no, and I thought it was so stupid when Don Jr. was like, "Oh man, but the Bud Light, Anheuser-Busch, they're such a conservative company. They're not. Over the past 6-7 years, at a bare minimum, they've spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on advertising through their marketing dollars for tenets that are the complete antithesis of conservatism. The only reason they like conservatives is because they'll get lower taxes from them. That's all." Well, I mean, do you remember this gem of a commercial from 2016?
As much as men, and that is wrong.
And we have to pay more for the same stuff.
What?
Yeah, cars.
What?
Dry cleaning.
What?
Shampoo.
What? You pay more but get paid less? That is double wrong. I'm calling everyone I know, and I'm telling them about this. This has got to stop.
Bud Light proudly supports equal pay. That's why Bud Light costs the same no matter if you're a dude or a lady.
Yeah, Mom, you have to pay more for a car than Dad. No one treats my mom like this.
Ugh. I hate both of those actors. They should be canceled just for that commercial. I didn't see it, actually.
Yeah, well, Bud Light dropped that commercial in 2016, along with like 3 or 4, it was maybe 2 or 3 other ones featuring Seth Rogen and Amy Schumer. They had a big Super Bowl ad with the two of them, which you know how much Super Bowl ads are. They're like a couple $1 million for like a 30-second spot. And they had a huge advertising campaign with those two. One was promoting gay marriage, one was promoting the gender pay gap, and another one was supporting basically, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that was a commercial that had Seth Rogen, Amy Schumer, and I think the guy's name is Michael Pena. He's that Hispanic fella from the Ant-Man movies.
I am unfamiliar. I stopped watching Marvel and all of that. I gave up on them some years ago.
You gave up on them?
I did.
Oh man, and
I'm out of touch.
Tebow Talk says he fully supports the gender pay gap. Yeah, well, I mean, I support it too, I guess, but it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you a fan? Are you a fan of Thomas Sowell?
Oh, please. You might just be saying it differently than I've heard it. So
Oh.
Where are you from?
Arizona? I don't know. Like, I was born here, but I grew up in Italy.
Okay.
And then I came back to the States in 1992.
So you're referring to the author then?
Yeah. The
Common Sense in a Senseless World. It sounds familiar, but I can't say I'm
Yeah, I believe he's a Harvard-educated economist. He's written an amalgamation of different books pertaining to economy and American history and how those two things kind of intertwine. He is as bright as all get out, and he was one of the first people to debunk the gender pay gap, and he did that back in like the 1970s, if I'm not mistaken. And he was one of the first people to highlight that once a society becomes more egalitarian, particularly men and women drift off into different career paths, and women have a tendency to pursue more social laden career efforts, things like social workers, teaching, and also when they occupy things like healthcare, because women comprise, I don't know, what is it, something like 90 some odd percent of
It's a lot.
some of the the healthcare jobs, not the upper echelons of healthcare. That they're not necessarily encompassing, doctors, surgeon roles or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're CNAs, RNs, phlebotomists,
But they're not the angioplasty surgeons. They're not the medical committees of these hospitals. But a lot of nurses are mostly female.
Well, yeah. But Thomas Wow was one of the first people to demonstrate that once you take into consideration education level, time in the workforce, time spent in a particular field, and then you compare compare men to women, once you take into account those types of factors, the wage gap essentially disappears. It doesn't really exist. But yes. So I thought that was kind of funny, which I guess this kind of segues into what I call the great gender debate.
No.
There's a lot of debate going on about trans rights or human rights, and I couldn't help but notice. I'm not necessarily trying to toot my own horn, but it is kind of my show at the same time. I noticed that you
get
liked,
to.
yeah, you did like one of my Twitter posts today, if I'm not mistaken.
I did at least one.
Yeah, at least one, man.
You had a thread, 4-part thread, I think.
Yes, and
this issue.
I suppose we can go into the thread. Let me go ahead and get that shared for us, so that way we can discuss that. All right. And so on this thread, obviously, I'm calling out there's this guy, he was responding to someone, kind of being critical of, the insane aspects of the gender movement, and he was doing the whole thing about, he was reciting the thing that you hear time and time again about transgender identifying individuals are just trying to secure the same basic human rights as everyone else. And I take issue with that, because as I point out in this, whenever you directly ask somebody what rights are these individuals lacking that others are currently enjoying, you typically don't get a direct answer, because most people don't know anything other than the mantra of trans rights or human rights.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I point out that transgender individuals, they are not lacking any sort of right that is enjoyed by their fellow citizens. They have the same First Amendment rights, they got Second Amendment rights, they're subject to the same criminal justice system as their peers. There is really no absence of rights that I can think of. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
Agreed. Except that that's not what they want. They want to be more privileged than the average citizen. They want to be celebrated. They don't want the minimum bare human rights, like they always say. That's just kind of it's one of those things. If they say it enough times, people are just going to believe, oh, that's a thing. They're not being treated like humans. It's like, no, that's an idiotic slogan that some intelligent marketing person on the left is like, time and time again, if we just say the same stupid thing over and over, eventually it just becomes fact and people are willing to go along with it. And so and especially you couple it with the constant criticism of cis women, cis men, especially white men. It's like you're beating one side down, saying that we don't have rights, so that they have to be, they want to be elevated above everyone else. No, it's all very intentional, I'd say. And it's very disingenuous to say that they want human rights. That's just a marketing slogan.
Yeah. And Alexa, thank goodness I don't have one of those Amazon devices in here. Alexa says these mofos have never been to a third world country. No, God forbid you send them to Iraq or Iran or what's that one South African country? What is it, like Ghana or something like that, where they are getting extremely based with
I haven't heard.
Yeah. I'll have to double check, but I believe it's a South African country that is getting extremely based on how to navigate these matters. And yeah,
Oh my.
thank you, Dirk. Gray, I kind of like the sound of my name without the last letter. You're correct regarding your Twitter post. And Tebow Talk says, I mean, I can't threaten anyone with violence or get away. I'm assuming he means with rioting. Clearly, we have unequal rights in this country. Yeah, there are severe issues with application of the law. I am not going to deny that. But yeah, and also to piggyback off what you were saying earlier, white. I still feel inclined to call you waifu.
Jess.
Yes,
Just Jess.
yes. You were correct. You kind of summarized it where trans right activists are seeking like these special things, and this a lot of this is something that I covered like back several years back with Red Voice Media, with the ACLU clearly explaining. Now, the ACLU, the way they explain trans rights or whatever, they have a very polished version of it, but at the end of the day, it is let's be honest, it's men trying to get into women's restrooms, prisons, changing rooms, battered and homeless shelters, and also there's the other issue of wanting to castrate and mutilate young children with impunity. Uh, and the reason why I say it's men trying to get into women's restrooms, prisons, changing rooms, and battered and homeless women's shelters, you do not see biological women who identify as men trying to get into the men's prisons. They're not trying to get into the men's locker rooms. If you notice, it is exclusively biological men trying to get into the women's spaces. And yeah, I mean,
sports and spaces. You don't see trans men trying to get into men's sports or men's restrooms or men's prisons, like you just said. But the biological males are able to just go, hey, wait a minute, this person sucks. I'm a woman now, and that's all they need to know. It's not like you don't have to prove anything. It's just everything's totally affirmed. And then they move into a women's prison where now they have just a buffet of potential victims, and it's already happened with the grape and impregnating female inmates. Well, she identified as, so what are we going to do? They're just worried about lawsuits. I mean, I think it's happened at least twice in California.
Oh yeah, and I think the concept of the lawsuits are freaking ridiculous. I
Yes.
think it is the most absurd thing that a biological man can file suit saying, how come you didn't stick me in the women's prison? And I know there are some conservatives are going to be like, oh well, they're inmates, who cares, so on and so forth. It's like a lot of women who are in prison, number one, they are victims or have been victims of sexual violence and trauma. A lot of them. I mean,
And trafficking victims, I'm sure, are in there too. Throwback to Eliza Blue. And I just realized you have an MCR shirt on.
oh yeah.
It comes full circle. Okay.
Well, yeah, no, like
Sorry, derailment.
no, it's okay. And for those that aren't aware, like my significant other, she's currently in prison right now. And I'm probably a lot more understanding than most guys would be, and I think it's largely because I'm an ex-con myself, so I know what it's like to be in prison, and it sucks. But when I went and visited her, what was it, about a week ago, give or take, I saw biological women that were presenting as men, trying to present more masculine, and they were not trying to get into the men's prison. Some of them even were growing, well, trying to grow facial hair. I mean, it still looked, yeah, it still looked, it's still painfully obvious. Like even the women that ardently tried to look like men or look more masculine, it's still a dead giveaway. It's kind of like the men that really work hard to present as female. Now, a lot of these people, they'll see videos of somebody, they'll see Instagram filters and be like, oh, they really do. If you see them in person, it's a dead giveaway. It's like that episode of Seinfeld. She's got man hands.
Hands.
Yeah.
It's always the hands.
Yeah, it's the hands, it's the face, it's the width of the shoulders, it's the obtuse looking hips. When
Mm.
you see them by themselves, even if they are the most passing, you see them by themselves, then yeah, you can kind of be a little bit distracted. But when you see one right next to a legitimate woman, you know, there's you can tell. It's at that point, Uh, but I'm surprised that I did not get more hate for the last little bit that I did where I said trans rights aren't human rights, that
Mhm.
it's just a slogan meant to glamorize what the agenda really is.
Yeah.
Compulsion of their peers to participate in a delusion through affirmation and relinquishing of sex segregated areas while being able to mutilate children with impunity. I'm then again also I know Twitter is probably trying to
Throttling
hide
it.
that. Yeah.
No angry comments on that. That's amazing.
Yeah, because typically that would garner something, more often than not.
I first read it, I'm like, that's spicy. Oh my.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Like a lot of people are really scared to say what they think, and it's like you want to know something. We have to be more candid. I think, we don't have to be candid in all situations. Like you don't have to go up to your grandma and be like, "You want to know something, Grandma? Your cookies always tasted like shit." You know, but I think we do need to be a little bit more candid. What? Oh, and Alexa's saying, and I'm guessing this is when you can identify him or a
Oh yeah.
man with open toe shoes.
Ooh, the cliffhanger toes.
I believe that the desire to be someone else than who we actually are is driven by deep insecurity.
Oh,
Uh, I'm
they're broken. Most of them are
yeah,
broken people.
yeah. The Adam's apple. Every time, if they've got an apple, they've got a banana. Uh,
No doubt.
yeah. Grifty's saying I didn't even see your thread. Definitely deboosted. Yeah, a lot of my stuff is getting deboosted because I'm saying not nice things about people.
And I
Uh,
follow you and have alerts on. I don't get the alerts very often.
Imagine my shock. And the funny thing is, like, I even went to look to see whether I was like being throttled or anything like that.
Mhm.
Like they have those websites that can see if you're being shadow banned or whatever. And
Yeah.
they're all telling me like, "Oh no, you're not shadow banned, no search ban, nothing, man, none of that stuff." I'm like, I don't know, I don't know. Nemesis, do you wear open toe heels? We've got some people asking personal questions.
I think he was asking. Oh no, I thought he was asking Alexa. Alexa was asking Nemesis. Oh my goodness, what are you guys doing? I brought over some weirdos. I love them.
No, they seem super nice. Apples
Oh,
and
they're
bananas
great.
go together every time, man. Every time apples and bananas do absolutely go together.
Do you, do you have any kids?
No, I do not.
Okay. Well, once you do, at around the age 2 or 3, you will be so sick and tired of the apples and bananas song. As soon as you hear the apples and bananas together, it's in my head now. Thank you.
I'm sorry that
It's catchy.
somebody.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I'm sorry that somebody reminded you of that. Yeah, no, that's one thing. Like, well, we're close to the same age. You admitted that you're almost 40, right?
I will be 39 this year.
Oh, okay, all right. So yeah, you're a couple years older than I am. Yeah, I
I'm
don't
older
have
than
any kids.
everyone I talk to nowadays.
Well, don't feel too bad.
Actually, I'm just gonna start saying I'm 35 because everyone else I talk to, like, everyone's 35 years old. I'm like, okay, either everyone's lying, and maybe I should just lie too, or I'm the outlier and I should just join in.
Oh, good
I
Lord.
did not show naked feet on the internet, Grifty. They were clothed. They had socks on. It's fine.
What is with the feet thing?
I
I'm
don't
not necessarily
know.
like I'm not saying anything about Grifty or anything like that.
Oh no. Okay, true. You didn't say naked feet. You just said feet.
Oh man, so no, you stick singles in your thanga every third Saturday. The
What?
chat is getting really interesting.
They're throwing their own party over there.
Yeah, no, raise the roof, man. I'm all for it, dude. I'm all for it. No, but what is with the feet thing, man?
You gotta ask men that. I don't think. I mean, what is it? Rule 34. If it exists, or no, it has to exist.
Oh
Right?
yeah. If something exists, then there is
Then there's a
adult content.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Uh,
So I've been criticized or scolded for saying women would never do XYZ or women would never be into XYZ. That's just a man thing. And I'm like, the rule, fine. There's some weirdo woman out there somewhere that is. But generally, I think the foot question has to be answered by a man.
yeah. I mean, I get it. There are some things that are can be more appealing than not, I guess. Like for one thing, like I tend to find like a good symmetry build up of the face, like maybe larger eyes and maybe more center nose. You know what I mean? Like you see those things like in conjunction. Like in my case, I'm like, oh, that's very pretty. But I don't look at somebody and be like, those eyeballs and those eyeballs alone by themselves are extremely attractive. Please take a close up photo of them, please. Whereas feet seem to be something that holds that trophy, and I'm befuddled by it.
Oh dear. I've only had 2 margaritas. I need to let the dog in. 1 second. Can I just like stop? Oh, I can stop cam.
Oh man, the internet loves feet for some reason. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. You know who else loves feet? My Shiba Inu, my little Shiba Goyim. He has an insane foot fetish. Let me see if I can pull up a nifty little picture of my guy. Let's see. I'll have to go. Yeah, Alexa, I'm right there with you. I've yet to. I don't get the foot fetish thing. I really don't. It's odd to me. I mean, to each their own. I guess, but I don't know, man. It just always seems so freaking weird to me. Let's see. All right, where's my little Shiba? That's my favorite picture of him. Let me go ahead and pull it up on stream for you guys. And that is my favorite picture of the guy. That was when I first got him, and he was not enjoying the camera, and he was trying to take a piece of paper that I had in my hand, and he did get it. I love the little guy, but right now he's on house arrest because he's a war criminal. Oh, and I've got my friend back.
Sorry. Doggo, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Let's. What? And apparently he wants to see. Oh! There's your friend.
Got a monster. Yeah, she was hassling me. Okay.
Oh man.
Grifty. Wednesday's gonna be fun. Grifty's gonna be on my show on Wednesday.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. What software do you use anyway? Do you use like StreamYard? Do you use something else? What do you use?
I've been using StreamYard. I had to get literally 100-foot cable to get to. Well, the router is on the other side of the house, so I had to get kind of creative with fishing it around the house to come into the office. Should probably just move the router. That would have been smart, but it was like my first live stream, and I got the cable just the day before. Like, whatever works, and now it's just still hodgepodge around the house. But it was a huge difference between trying to use Wi-Fi with StreamYard and I have really good Wi-Fi, but it needs the lightning cable. Not lightning cable. What's it called?
Ethernet.
Ethernet.
Yeah.
Don't you dare.
Yeah. What is it? Tebow's saying that Eliza has got ass, but he doesn't want any of her blue cheese toes. You want something like I can agree that Eliza has a very nice shapely body. What throws me off though is when like I've seen those interviews that she does she's really good with her makeup, but when she's not doing a good job with her makeup, you realize that she has like those fucking she has that Forrest Whitaker eye.
She does. She does. Oh no.
Yeah, you know, like yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, for those who are watching, let's see. For those who don't know who Forrest Whitaker is, I'll share a quick picture for you guys. That is Forrest Whitaker. All right.
Actually, I think that interview, the one where she's like leaning back on the couch and she looks like she has little T-Rex arms, I think that's the one where she really has the eye problem going on. And I think she seemed like she was intoxicated. Just a matter of opinion.
I mean, it's possible.
They looked a little. She seemed to be a little slurry too with her words.
Yeah, no. And this is what I'm saying when I say she has that Forrest Whitaker eye. This is a really bad picture. Like it's really blurry. But I just wanted to get it up here really quick so that way people can see what I'm talking about. Like look at that. She's got the same lazy eye.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I only really noticed in that other video, but now I'm going to see it everywhere. Well, hopefully I don't see her too often, but when I do, Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah. Oh, he's asking which interview is that? Like which Eliza Blue interview? Is he asking like of you or is
No, it was the Eliza Blue interview where she was talking about turning down somebody's proposition for like $25,000 to sleep with her, or 150 or something.
Yeah, the one
was that one.
Yeah, the one where she had the black scent.
Yes.
Yeah.
She had just like a bra on and she's on a couch and like, but the way she had her arms the whole time, it just made it look like they were like super short coming out of her body like a T-Rex.
She looked like her heart.
Yes.
Yeah, no, like I remember that. I remember it was so cringy and so unbelievable when she was saying like, yeah, you know, but man, yo, it was $125,000. So you know what I'm saying? I'm like, dude, sweet Jesus,
So
like, did you?
cringy?
It looked like she fell out of an episode of Def Comedy Jam, like with the way she was fucking talking. You know, I was just waiting for the next joke to be like, and you know, black people be like, but white people be like.
No. Just pulls out some cornbread and watermelon, and it's like she's doing the black face, the black scent, right?
Yeah, no. So on to the next topic. Glowies in the DMs. And you know, I'm glad that you were able to learn about glowies. And so, what is it? This was a Twitter post. Oops, I'm dropping windows over here. I saw a Twitter post come up today where apparently Elon Musk or what have you had disclosed that the FBI has been looking at people's DMs. All right. So this is what I'm talking about right here. It comes from Paul Sperry, you know, and you know he's as you can see, he's a reporter over at Real Clear Investigations, New York Post columnist, so on and so forth. And he says, breaking: Elon Musk disclosed that the FBI and other federal agents had full access to conservative Twitter users' private DMs before he took over the platform. This is the most alarming, considering that FBI and other law enforcement officer whistleblowers have relayed tips to journalists through DMs. So, what are your thoughts on that revelation?
Definitely concerning. Also, the question: did it say specifically who was in particularly targeted with this?
Well,
what types of people?
It's
conservatives.
Conservative Twitter users, private DMs.
Well, I kind of just presume somebody has eyes on everything to some degree, but I don't know, Big Daddy government snooping in my DMs. It's just, I don't know. It's shocking, but it's not surprising at the same time.
Well, yeah,
I don't know.
It's one of those things where, you've always got those OTLs, like those obey the law people, like, well, if you had nothing to hide, what do you care? It's like, I don't know, maybe I don't want people sniffing my fucking underwear. I'm not saying there's any shit in it, but I don't want you sniffing my drawers. How about that?
Because they're mine.
Yeah. Oh man, what is it? All right, Alexa, what are glowies?
Oh no. I'll tell you later.
All right, and Grifty say, all right, I gotta run. Date night with the fiance. Gotta watch American Idol. Yeah, that is definitely Normie. Yeah, and Grifty saying, Alexa, it's a fed. It is definitely a fed.
I'll tell you later.
Yeah, I would love to be able to play the video, like some of the old compilations of that dude. The stream would get yanked, like
just snooped, just gone.
Yeah, just completely. But yeah, I do find it unsettling because there are some things that are shared by DM number one that are of an extremely personal nature, and also, if you're conspiring to turn somebody into authorities who may be a person in power, and then the authorities are able to see that, and maybe it's the type of authorities you don't want seeing it. Mm-hmm. What if you're, conspiring to turn in a dirty Fed, or a dirty law enforcement officer, or a corrupt politician, and you're swapping messages with somebody via Twitter DMs, and you have people in power that can see it and get ahead of the matter.
Yeah.
Or find a way to screw with you. I don't like that.
No one should.
Well, yeah, and it also raises unsettling Fourth Amendment concerns. And the reason why, I say that, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, stuff like that, is tech platforms are in this unique position where if we utilize their service to exchange messages, the government, if they want to see our messages, our exchanges, learn about our conversations, they no longer have to go to a court and ask for a subpoena. They can just go to the intermediary, the platform, and say, hey, can you show me this? And more often than not, these platforms will just do it. They're not
a regulatory agency that can regulate a government agency. Like, they're not the police. The government asks for something, and they're going to be like, okay, sure. Like, that's just how I would envision it anyway.
Oh, my background is dope. Thank you. Which background are you talking about? Are you talking about the collection of my little doges? Or are you talking about my action figures back here? Oh, I'm pretty sure they'll tell me eventually. I don't know. Jess, are you an action figure type of person?
I have some, not as many as you. Mostly it's my husband's collection, but what's his is mine and mine's is his, so they're mine too. But I appreciate them. Sorry, the dog is like crunching around on this paper bag, and I'm very distracted. I'm so sorry. How many figurines do you have?
I don't know, like
ballpark.
2,500 maybe, 2,500, 3,000, somewhere in there. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I noticed some of the comments that I got on one of my last videos where people were complaining, or not complaining. They were like, I can't take him seriously because he has toys, in the background. It's like, well, I could film my stuff somewhere else, but like, the only other place that really doesn't have any toys are like maybe portions of my kitchen and the bathrooms. But like every bedroom in my house, it's like it's got toys or arcades. It's got one of the two. It's just my hobby, man. I can't help it. Alexa, I have gifted action figures to friends, but I don't have them. Speaking of gifting action figures, in the I'm gonna release a video tomorrow. Where I'm gonna run through my current subscriber base, and I'm gonna pick 2 of the subscribers and just send out a gift box. I'll obviously contact them, but I'm gonna send them a gift box to celebrate the 400 subs that I recently hit. because I'm all about that. Well, I did it last time when I hit 200 subs. I was like, hey, I'm going to send out a gift box of personalized stuff from me to a couple of my subs, and I'm doing it again for 400, and and I'm going to do it again when I hit 1,000. I think it is really important, especially with like a smaller content creators, to really show the appreciation for folks coming to here and patronize us. Why
well,
you like?
Crap, Greg. I hit 200 and I didn't give gifts. I didn't know we're supposed to give gifts.
Well, that's
Dang it.
yeah. No, I'm not saying that that's something that you have to do.
No, you're talking about how nice it is, and I'm like, that would have been nice. That would have been really nice. Fail. Oh no, pug number 2. Enter.
Unsubbed.
Thanks.
See, that's exactly why Greg is the OG. Oh man.
Damn it.
Oh man. Yeah,
no. That's really cool though that you did that.
Well, I think it's a great thing to show like appreciation. So one thing I want to ask you, are you found everywhere via WaifuChron, like Twitter, YouTube? Is that your exclusive tag?
So YouTube is my WaifuChron channel, my main. I just created a Rumble channel not long ago because it's kind of a backup, more or less. Especially after my live stream got nuked last week. But on Twitter,
why did your live stream get nuked?
They didn't timestamp anything for me as to why. They just said it was a violation of community guidelines for hate speech. So I think it was because my guest she was a little on fire and said some spicy things.
Oh man, I'm surprised I haven't gotten the hate speech thing yet. I mean, I do. I think I toe the line. I think my content borders it, but I don't think I say anything hateful in any of my videos. Critical, yes, but not hateful. Yeah.
Oh no, John Arch. Yeah, Tom's done. Sent John Arch the link. White supremacy incoming.
Wait, what?
So I didn't get a strike on the channel. They just deleted the video and gave me a warning. And then the next time I'm hateful with my speech.
I said.
Oh no. Oh no. The next one will be a strike, but for now, just a warning.
Well,
so to answer your question, though, I'm WaifuChron on YouTube and Rumble. I do have a WaifuChron Twitter, but I think I mostly thought I would just be using it to promote channel content. I actually don't use it very often, but at the same time, I'm happy I have it kind of as a placeholder because now that I have a YouTube channel, I wouldn't want some rando to create a WaifuChron Twitter and cosplay. Hey, Dirk. I do have green eyes.
Yeah, no. I mean, the chat has been amazing. We've been at it for an hour. I got to say, this is the longest I've ever lasted with a woman.
Oh my!
I couldn't help but make that joke. Though it was just right there. It was right there.
Gotta send it.
But I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing your thoughts, insight, expertise, opinions, whatever you want to call it. Okay. But as you can see on the ticker below, I've got folks. If they want to follow you on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, they can follow you at WaifuChron. The cool thing is, after this live stream is over, it will be available for replays for any and all who want to view it after the fact. Just is there anything else that you want to leave the folks with?
Just as a side note, I do have a WaifuChron Twitter, but my primary is Surly Durly. So all of my activity is actually under that handle. But you can find me through the WaifuChron as well. I have a live stream weekly on Wednesdays now. So, oh no, the chat. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, just thank you for having me on. This was a lot of fun. Shut up. These guys suck. No, they're the best.
They are incredibly based.
my people. They roast
Uh-huh.
me regularly. It's great.
Yeah, no, they're out here doing the Lord's work, man. I think it's awesome.
Feel the love. But yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, no. So, I hope all viewers had a great time, and we're gonna go ahead and sign off. I hope you guys take care.
Two to the one to the three. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe.